Today we are doing the next colligative property, the osmotic pressure. For this, let us consider this arrangement. There is a beaker, there is a funnel having a semi-permeable membrane attached to it. In this funnel, known as thistle funnel, we have a sugar solution and there is water present inside the beaker. When you observe this arrangement for some time, we observe that water moves from the beaker to the thistle funnel. The reason is water is at higher potential with respect to the sugar solution. So water tends to move from the beaker to the thistle funnel. As a result, the water adding up to the solution increases the pressure and the solution tends to rise in this funnel. So if the initial measurement was till A, now this level rises to B. Now what is basically osmotic pressure? Osmotic pressure is the pressure exerted by the contents present in the thistle funnel on this semi-permeable membrane. So we observe that osmotic pressure exactly depends upon the number of solute particles present inside the thistle funnel. Hence, it becomes a colligative property. There are various uses of osmosis. We can have a clear look of the various uses through some examples. The first example is the climbing of water up a tall tree from the soil is due to osmosis. If you place RBCs in water, there is a movement of water inside the cell, inside the RBC, and it can burst because of that. The swelling of dry raisins when placed in water is due to the movement of water into the dry raisins. A raw mango, if you place it in concentrated salt solution, then water would move from the raw mango outside. As a result, it would shrink. When blood cells are placed in water containing less than 0.9% salt solution, they collapse due to the loss of water due to osmosis. So we can say that RBCs can manage themselves at a concentration of 0.9% mass by volume. But if this concentration is less, then RBCs may collapse because water would move from the RBCs to the surrounding solution. People taking excess amount of salt retain water in their cells. This basically means people who have lot of salty food have a tendency that their cells becomes hypertonic. Now what is a hypertonic solution? A solution which has a high concentration of salt in it is known as a hypertonic solution. If the solute is more and solvent is less, then such a solution is known as hypertonic solution. So the water has a tendency to enter the cells of this person. So the cells become turgid or they swell up. Similarly, you must have heard that meat is marinated. Meat or certain other vegetables are marinated before cooking. For this purpose, we add salt to that. Now, if we would add salt to the raw meat, then the outside solution becomes hypertonic. The meat is relatively hypotonic. So the water tends to move from the meat to the external solution. As a result, the cells of the meat shrivel or shrink up. The bacteria present in the meat, they tend to die because of the process of exosmosis. Then we all know that osmosis needs a semi-permeable membrane, which is a porous membrane that allows only solvent molecules to pass through it. Thus, the semi-permeable membrane allows a selective passage to only the solvent molecules. Cellophane paper, parchment paper, and certain semi-permeable membranes present in the animals are basically selectively permeable or semi-permeable. Naturally occurring semi-permeable membranes are weak. Quite often they fracture themselves. To overcome these problems, we have artificial semi-permeable membranes. Artificial semi-permeable membranes can have some examples in the form of copper ferrocyanide, silicates of iron, and nickel. The property of semi-permeable membrane is to allow selective passage of solvent molecules and prevent the solute particles to pass through it. Now I would like to explain the example of reverse osmosis through this. In reverse osmosis, what we observe is that the water which is dirty is placed in the Thissell funnel basically. Now looking back at the same diagram, if we have to consider this for reverse osmosis, then the dirty water is present in the Thissell funnel. Okay. Now if you put pressure equal to osmotic pressure on this Thissell funnel, then water, instead of moving from the beaker to the Thissell funnel, would move from the Thissell funnel to the external. So if water is moving from the Thissell funnel to the beaker, then we would get pure water, the impurities leaving behind in the Thissell funnel. This is the concept of reverse osmosis in the water treatment apparatus which you have in the kitchens. There the dirty water is present in the Thissell funnel, which is exactly not the same setup. This is a raw setup, very layman kind of a diagram, but this is basically the concept that you need to understand. So the dirty water, the water which is not consumable, is present in such kind of a setup. This is a semi-permeable membrane. So if we put pressure on this, then the pure water through this semi-permeable membrane comes out. So this is the water which you would consume, and the impurities would remain behind in the Thissell funnel. Next, we should know how is the formula of osmotic pressure related to the number of moles of the solute present in the solvent. For this, let us consider this formula. Pi is directly proportional to Ct. C here is concentration and pi is osmotic pressure. So osmotic pressure is directly proportional to the concentration, which is number of moles per unit volume. So if you have a clear look of this, pi is directly proportional to C into T, concentration and temperature. But C is number of moles per unit volume. Then we all know there is a ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT, but that is applicable to gases. Here we are studying a colligative property related to solutions. So in solutions, the pressure is replaced by pi. Pi is osmotic pressure. So pi V is equal to nRT, where pi stands for osmotic pressure, V is the volume of the solution, N is the number of moles of the solute dissolved in that solvent, R is gas constant, which for practical reasons we would be taking 0.0821 liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole, and T is the temperature. So this is exactly similar to the ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT. This equation is known as Van't Hoff equation. We can easily determine the molar mass from this formula. So if you have a clear look, pi V is equal to nRT, and if you substitute number of moles as given mass upon molar mass, then you can easily know the molecular mass of the solute present in a particular solvent. So have a look at this derivation. Number of moles is given mass upon molar mass. Pi V is equal to given mass upon molar mass into RT. Molar mass, if you bring here, the formula becomes WRT divided by pi into V. So molar mass of any solute can be determined from osmotic pressure measurements. Here W is the given mass of the solute, R is the gas constant, T is the temperature, preferably in Kelvin, pi is osmotic pressure which you would measure yourself through a manometer, and V is the volume. So this equation is applicable to dilute solutions. Please be careful, it is applicable majorly to dilute solutions.